Today, he is an American hero. He is a true patriot. And he is the man that has made pecan pie the most famous dessert in Southlake, Texas. Please welcome Alan West.
Oh boy, thank you so very much. It's a pleasure and honor to be here with each and every one of you. But before we get started with the remarks I want to give, ma'am. Now, you told me your first name, but you know,
Kristen.
Kristen, come on up here. Throughout history, when there's always been a struggle for liberty, there was one person that always stood up. Thomas Jefferson once said that in matters of style, swim with the current, but in matters of substance, stand like a rock. When I think about Martin Luther, when he went up and nailed the 95 Theses on the church at Wittenberg. When I think about Thomas More, when he stood up against King Henry VIII and refused to bow down to him because he would only bow down to his sovereign Lord. When I think about 13 little colonies that came together against the greatest power that the world knew at this time. When I think about a simple woman by the name of Rosa Parks, who said, I'm not going to go to the back of the bus. I'm going to sit right here. Kristen is the Rosa Parks of Southlake, Texas. Because she, in her courage, in her resolve, in her commitment to stand up, inspired all the rest of you. So, Kristen, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for being that Rosa Parks that stood up and has created a movement that has rippled all across the United States of America. God bless you. All right, it was a year ago. It was a year ago when you looked out and you said, that's enough. It was a year ago when the progressive socialist left came in front of you and said that we are going to take your children away from you, like Adolf Hitler talked about, like Lenin and Stalin talked about. You know, when we really confused them because you had me speak before you, and it wasn't about this critical race thing. You're not a bunch of racists. You're not a bunch of white supremacists. You're looking at a young man that was born in 1961 in a blacks-only hospital. So if I can join with you and say that this is something that we need to stand together against and fight, that put them on the defense. And what we have to come to understand with this movement that you created, that is nationally known, is that you can never be on the defense again. Now, the great thing about when you have a successful urban city in the United States of America has had the courage to stand up and do and say, get the hell out of our schools. And that's exactly what we're doing. With most municipal level elections, I mean, you get 6%, and you get 8%. People are thrilled. I think the numbers for y'all was 41%. That's incredible. 70 to 30% was the separation, the margin of victory. See, on May the 1st here in Texas, we set two incredible victories across this country. Your friends, your brothers and sisters, fellow Texans out in Lubbock, made sure that Lubbock is the largest sanctuary city for life in the United States of America. And then look what you all did in a year. But now what you have to do, this is a best practice. This is a lessons learned. You have to put this in a white paper. You have to make a video. You've got to make sure that you export this to every single major suburban area in the United States of America outside of a blue-controlled city. One of the things that I told the Republican Party of Texas is I want Lee to be on one of these leadership webinars to talk to all of the county chairs across Texas. We need to make sure that we get you all on the stage at CPAC Dallas because we have to replicate success. Because it is time for us as constitutional conservatives, it's time for us at this grassroots level to understand that the power that we have is right here within each and every one of us. You know, when you think about what goes on in the military, it's not about a general. It's not about a colonel. It's about soldiers on the ground. Soldiers on the ground who make the difference. Soldiers on the ground who take that terrain inch by inch, bleeding, sacrificing, and sweating. That's what you did. You didn't sit around and wait for the National Republican Party to tell you what to do. You didn't wait for the Republican Party of Texas to tell you what to do. What you did was you said, it's time for us to take the initiative. You did what we call carpe diem. You seized the day. And now the important thing is that we got to make sure that your spirit, the spirit of Crystal, it gets put out all across the United States of America. We got an incredible opportunity. You know, when I'm out there with those chuckleheads from CNN, okay? And this guy stands up and tells me, well, don't you think you're going too far to the right? See, that's what they try to do. They try to put us on defense. They try to make us feel that we're wrong. They try to make us feel like, we're not doing something correct. And that's why I told them, then why does Sam Hill, is everyone coming from Texas, from California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Michigan, all of these failed blue states to here? Maybe we're doing something right. And you have proven that we are doing something that is right, and you need to continue to do that. You've got to press the attack going on. They are not going away because of one election cycle. We had a little saying when I was in the Army. Why do you kick a man when he's down? Because he's close to your foot. You got them down. You got to keep kicking. You got to keep them down. It's just the same as when I was back at the University of Tennessee, we hated Steve Spurrier. It could be the fourth quarter, and the Florida Gators could be up by 30 points. Steve Spurrier still has his first string out there. They're still throwing the ball downfield. Why? Because it's all about punishing your opposition. It's all about running up the score. Let's continue to run up the score. This is so important. Because what you did, you made a stand for the future generations, for our children and grandchildren, so that they will not be indoctrinated, so that they will be educated. We want history to be taught. We want civics to be taught. We want our young people to be critical thinkers. We want them to be critical and productive members of our society. We don't want them to be the robots to go out and think that America is a horrible country. When you look at Antifa and Black Lives Matter and all of these other groups that I guess the CNN guy thought was okay, we don't think they're okay. And the way that it starts is in your homes. If you abdicate your role and responsibility as the adult and as the parent, that's where it starts. When you start to let your kid believe that it's okay to get a participation trophy, getting something for doing nothing. When you start to abdicate your role and allow a teacher or a professor or someone else to inculcate their principles and values into your child and grandchild, then that's how we will lose the greatest nation and the greatest state and the greatest nation that the world has ever known. I'm telling you something. You all will go down in history for what you did. It started with one person making a stand. It started with a couple of other people realizing we cannot allow this to continue on. And then all of y'all came together with a vision. Now take that vision and make sure it spreads all across Texas. It spreads all across the United States of America. And perhaps even we can export it across the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, so that parents all over the world understand that they do not have to surrender their children to progressivism, socialism, Marxism, communism, or statism. I'm proud of you guys. When I stood before you all last year, I gave you a challenge. You sons of bitches kick some ass. That's what we call Army Strong. But remember, as Tim said, the fight ain't over. We got to continue to march on to protect this incredible place that we call home, the great state of Texas. God bless you all. God bless the Southlake Family PAC. God bless the United States of America. And stay strong.